Hey, everybody, welcome back to Wrestling Travels Lockdown Sessions, brought to you this time by our good friends in London in the UK, Wrestle Merch Central. They are exactly what they say they are. They are your home in the UK and Europe for all things professional wrestling. So please check out Wrestle Merch Central. But now, while you're checking out Wrestle Merch Central, let's help me welcome to the show a very special guest on this one, Mr. Blaq-Tus Jack. Do I call you Blaq-Tus? Do I call you Blaq-Tus Jack? Can I call you Jack? What can we do for the show today? Don't show me any special treatment either. I want to know what we should call you.
Call me Blaq-Tus Jack, whatever you decide.
All right. Well, hey, we want to welcome you to the show. As you know, during the lockdown sessions, we've been kind of catching up with everybody. I want to find out what this last year or so has been like for you. But before I get to that, I want to start all the way at the beginning. How long have you been in this great sport, professional wrestling, Blaq-Tus?
I started January 27th, 2016. And I started at Firestar. That's where Griff Garrison, who's in AEW now, started it also. And then I trained there for a year or so. Then AML opened their school. Excuse me, sorry. And then I went there to train with George South.
That is awesome. So you got to train with the legend. I love George South.
He is hilarious.
Yeah, I got a chance. Wrestling Travel, we're set up at StarCast in Baltimore for Full Gear a couple of years ago. And I got to talk to a lot of people, but two people that I wanted to talk to more that I got a little chance to sit down with was George South and Ron Garvin. So man, I really I could have spent, I mean, they would have chased me away, but I could have spent all day talking to those guys. In fact, I made sure that I bought George's book.
He's
don't work, you wrestle, he didn't have to try to work me on that one. I was like, dude, I'm buying your book.
Forever. You bought his book? Oh God, Jesus.
I want to get him. I want to get him on one of these shows sometime and interview him. But Griff and you were kind of in the same class when you first started out?
No, I started about a year and something before Griff.
Oh, so he kind of helped break you.
Yeah, I started before he did.
Oh, before he did. Okay, I'm lost.
Yeah, I started before him. It's funny because the last training session I went to with him, we were working on standard moonsaults.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had lost I was still like 300 some pounds. And I was doing a standard moonsault, and me and him both were doing standard moonsaults. And it was me, him, and Kozone.
So you said you were 300 pounds though. What do you bill at right now currently?
I actually weigh around 280, 275, depends on the time of day and the day.
That's true.
My weight really does fluctuate a lot.
Mine does too. Mine usually just keeps going up. So especially during the pandemic. So tell me what it's like now. A lot of people will be watching this. A lot of the fans and stuff. What's it like now learning from a guy like George South, like somebody old school versus because I'm old school as it comes, and getting a chance to train with a guy like George South versus training with everybody more around your age. What do you get from a veteran that you don't really get from somebody around your age?
Honestly, you get training, it depends on how you take it. You know what I'm saying? Because George South is a great trainer, but it depends on how you take training and if you do more than just training. When I started training, I used to train 3-4 times a week for 6-7 hours. And it he is he teaches you stuff that's just so interesting because he has such a way of having you remember stuff. Like he just has a way with like telling you stuff to where it's like you get what he's saying. And a lot of younger people they didn't catch on because like he's brutally honest. He'll just tell you like, and that's what I like. Excuse me. He's very militant with it because he doesn't do two, three people talking or you interrupting him or nothing like that. Like it's straight like, look, you come here to work, you come here to make money, you paid me to be here, you're here to learn, let's get the job done. And some people can't handle that. They want to be able to have a more free, work environment. But me, that did fine with me. I can adjust to anybody's style as long as they're making sense to me.
Yeah, 100%. I was talking with Colin Delaney earlier this week, and one of the things I said about training is, you might get told the same thing from a couple different people, but somebody changes the words around or says it just a little bit, and it starts to click. Because one of the things, my biggest pet peeve is when you're trying to help somebody, not just in wrestling, but even in life or any other athletic endeavor, and you're correcting them, and they say, "Yeah, I know." If you know, fix it.
That's that's the number one thing that really irritates people. And now that like I'm becoming like I'm a vet to certain people, like it's really irritating when you have to keep repeating yourself. It's even more irritating when you have to repeat yourself for common sense type of things, like having respect for other people or not talking while the trainer's talking or stuff that we learned in kindergarten and pre-kindergarten. It's just like we're adults here. Let's get this money and whatever happens after that, fine, whatever. But that's the frustrating thing for me because I always listen to the people that came before me. Like that's how I got in good with so many veterans. I would always ask one simple question. I would say, "Hey, what advice would you give a new guy here?" You know what I'm saying? What advice would you give me? Do I look like I can whoop somebody's ass? Do I look like a wrestler? Would you believe me? Would I be the type of guy that you would want to pass by in the alleyway? You
Right.
know, and the first two vets I ever walked up to was Caprice Coleman and Luke Hawks. They was talking at AML. So I said, do y'all mind if I just stand here and be a fly on the wall? I just want to learn the game. And they had so much respect because they were just standing over there talking. And, they were special guests, so they didn't come in like that. You know what I'm saying? What Caprice Coleman did, he worked regularly for AML, but Luke Hawks, he wasn't there like that. You know what I'm saying? So I got the game from them and I was just listening and learning stuff. I didn't ask no questions because I just wanted to learn like how to do stuff and how to present myself because like wrestling is so unique. Like it's different than anything you'll ever do. Like, and I'd have done a lot in my life.
One of the things that I find too is that younger people first coming in and in their first few years, I like to go to seminars. I like to listen, like you said, fly in the wall. I find that a lot of people now, when they get a seminar and they're in front of people, these younger guys are almost afraid to get in and do anything because they're afraid to make a mistake or they're afraid to admit they don't know anything, and realizing that this sport can be such a building up of things that it's like, no, man, this is the time. Um, where if you don't know, admit you don't know. Let's learn it. Let's fix it together because there's nothing worse than people don't understand. If you got a one-on-one match and there's three people in the ring, me, you, and the referee, if one of us messes up, we all look foolish out there. So it's time to learn.
Well, that goes back to something, and I quote Jim Cornette a lot because I listen to him a lot. You know what I'm saying? Um, you use mud shows to get better. You use the spot shows to get better. That way you can get on the PWXs, the AMLs, the first time ever, the WrestleCades, the WrestleManias. You don't go wait till you get to those shows and be like, hey, let me try this move. You know, that's not the time to try it. You should already have like your stuff, like, you know what I'm saying, what you do and what you don't do. And like I tell everybody, I told them, I said, take a piece of paper and split it in half. And dog on the left side, put stuff that your person does. This is your baby. However you build it, that's what it is. Don't let nobody, and you take that right box and you put everything that you would never do. If your character is a serial killer that's like that never smiles and never laughs and does doll jokes, and that's it. Okay. Make that your thing. So that way you can distinguish yourself. I don't watch new age wrestling because if they're already on TV doing stuff, why do I want to do it? And they're already getting paid to do it. You know, I had to tell a young guy a few weeks ago. I said, he was like, "Oh, I wish I could work like that guy." And the guy was standing right there, and he said, "I wish I could work like Malachi." It was at Firestar. I said, "I wouldn't want to see that." And Malachi laughed, and I was like, and the guy was like, "Why?" I said, "Because if you're doing what he does, and you're doing what the other guy does," I say one of y'all or two of y'all ain't gonna be on the show because I don't want 3 matches where each of y'all, the 3 matches on a 7-match card, 3 of the matches are the same. So your special thing is your special thing. I don't want to be like nobody else. I don't want to talk, think, act, move, sell like nobody else. I don't.
I love it. I love it. You got this you got the old school heart in the young body there. So speaking of younger, I want to back it way back. And I should have maybe started with this. I'd love to find out how you broke in, but when you were a very young Blaq-Tus Jack, who did you see on TV, or who were some of the first people that made you go, I want to do that? That's who I like. I'm following this guy or this girl. This is my favorite pro wrestler. What drew you to the world of pro wrestling, and who were you a fan of growing up?
I'll be very honest with you. I watched so much wrestling growing up that it would be very hard to pinpoint one person, to be very honest. But like, my favorite wrestler, actually 2 of my favorite wrestlers of all time, I'll never get to meet them. Roddy Piper and Macho Man Randy Savage.
Very nice.
When I say I thought those men could walk on water, look, Roddy Piper has never done a thing wrong in my mind. Macho Man, although he was crazy about Miss Elizabeth and did some crazy stuff, they could do no wrong in my eyes. You know, those were my heroes. But I also knew that I loved certain people. Like, I used to love to be scared. Like, I even love that scare. Like, I love that uncertainty, whether I'm a live or die type of thing. And Mankind used to terrify me. Like, I forgot what year it was, like 96, 95 when he first came in WWE. And he was the centerfold. And my brother had gotten a magazine. And I could not look at that centerfold for a couple of days because I wanted to avoid him. I was terrified of him. Like, his whole presentation just intrigued me. Because The Undertaker was like, he was like so opposite of everybody else. But when Mankind came, I felt like he took so much momentum because he was like the ultimate bad guy, because he literally came in and he got like the ultimate push to start. He beat up Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and I think it was Bret Hart in one night. He did the mandible claw on him all in one night. And literally, like, he was the main focal point of the show. So that's one of the people I really, really look up to. But like, now it's like I look at the old school stuff and it's like I love Johnny Saint, I love Fit Finley, I love Steven Regal. Like, and I'm not just like, literally, if you look at my phone, you'll be like, wow, he's a variety guy. Like, so I'm not the type of person, they be like, define your style. And I'm like, I don't have a style particularly. you know, because I've studied everything. I used to work 40 hours a week and then study wrestling for at least 40 hours a week. I'd make sure I studied. Like in weekends, sometimes if I didn't have a show, I made sure I got my 40 hours in. So I may not be the most technical wrestler, but you're not going to make me look like I'm just some sluck off the street.
Oh, that's good to hear that. I mean, I love the fact that a lot of people, we live in an age right now where I wish I was a child at this time, because I can look up anything on YouTube. I got the network. There's so many things I can that you can do for tape. I mean, I was one of those guys that I wasn't a tape trader per se, but when I first found out that I could get on something called eBay, now I'm much older than you. I was like, I can actually buy some old AWA things. And one of the first tapes I bought, VHS tapes, was the 7 matches between Tiger Mask and Dynamite Kid from the late 70s to the early 80s. And I was like, that stuff was blowing me away. And then, of course, we got into the more athletic stuff like that. That's cool. One of the things, when you mention, this question just comes to my head, so forgive me, because I'm not the journalist that people think I am. But when you named Randy Savage and Roddy Piper as 2 of the things, what comes to mind, those are 2 rough and ready, great wrestlers, but their promos, the way they could talk me into wanting to watch them. Of course, I grew up, hating, not liking both of them, but Roddy Piper being a heel, but you learn to respect, and as you get older, you realize, oh, I didn't like these guys as a kid because they were doing their job. That's what they were supposed to do. Me not liking them, but I can remember and I was really young, 13 or 14, WrestleMania, the lead up to WrestleMania 5, those promos by Randy Savage that they would air every week on Superstars of Wrestling here in my area, where he's building that angle against Hulk Hogan, that Hogan's trying to steal Elizabeth, and that passion that he has. I believed everything. I'm like, no, he's got this all wrong. Hogan wasn't, and just what a great promo that both of them were. So how much do you hey, I want to get all my ring stuff, work with these promos? A lot of people I'm reading just tonight on some of these promoters' pages, they can't get these young guys to film promos for them for their shows. Then it's really starting to irk some promoters off. How are you on your ring skills, promo skills, 50-50 working on?
Everything is a consistent work with me. So like I'm a nerd when it comes to words. I've been writing poetry since I was in the 4th grade. I actually got in trouble for writing a poem in the 6th grade. So I've been writing poetry and interested in words. And I did spoken word in Afghanistan. My name in Afghanistan was actually Pharaoh, because I used to always be interested in like Pharaoh from the Bible, like pharaohs. So I always focus on certain things. I don't like that. I know they say the 5 W's: what, when, where, how. Okay, that's fine, but I'm gonna let the other guy do that. That whole some things that's the one thing where I'm not like a traditionalist or old school guy, because those I don't want my promos to feel like a promo. I want it to feel like I'm having a conversation with you and I'm in your living room and I'm telling you what I'm about to go do to this guy. I don't want it to be like, hey, I'm going here Friday the 17th to da 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 da, because it's so stereotypical and it's so generic. And everything about me is different and weird, from how I grew up to the stuff I've been through to even the stuff I put myself through. But I like my promos to be like me, even to the point where like I have a dictionary app where every morning they send me a new word every morning.
What was the word today?
Let's see. What was the word today? I think it was hue. Yeah, hello?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
Your camera dropped off while you were checking that. That's all right. I'm sure you'll be back on. but the word was Hew. H-E-W?
Uh-huh. Let's see.
I don't even know how to. I know the word. I couldn't even put in a sentence for you. You said
I'm
Hugh, and
sorry,
I think of Hugh Morris because we're talking wrestling, you know.
Hew, chop or cut with an axe, pick, or other weapon. It's a verb.
Ah, yeah, hewing the logs and everything. All right.
So I mean, like I don't like to base my presentation off other stuff or other people, you know, like and like my third favorite wrestler of all time would definitely have to be Jake the Snake Roberts. But there's so like my fourth and fifth one, you'd be like, what? It would definitely have to be number 4 would definitely be Max Mini.
Okay.
I don't know why I love me some Max Mini. Like I love that guy. I don't know why. I just love him. Like but yeah, those are like people not cutting promos is like the same people who don't take 2 seconds to share a flyer or who don't flyer or who want to half-ass that training or who want stuff that they don't deserve. Like I will grind until I am no more, but nobody will ever be able to say, oh, he didn't deserve this or he didn't deserve that. You know, like that's me. I'm going to work until they're like, you know what? He is around all the time. We have to give him something. They're gonna have to. It's gonna be undeniable.
No, I love to hear it. I love to hear that because you understand you're relatively fresh into the business, and I love to hear it because you're not asking for a handout like I deserve anything. I'm going to work for it and everything. Speaking of working for it, this is going to be awkward. We're filming this 3 days prior to the first time ever event, but by the time this interview airs, first time ever is going to be almost a week old. But you've got, am I right? You've got Myron Reed
Yes,
coming
sir.
up. Now,
Myron.
obviously, because of the way this first time ever is, it's first time ever matchup. So I know that you have not been in the ring with Myron Reed, and Myron is a guy whose star is rising. I've seen Myron out at Warrior Wrestling. Myron, of course, in the MLW and all over some of the things we've been involved. What are your thoughts going into this match with Myron Reed? You got to be excited to take on somebody of his caliber.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's I feel like it's a huge opportunity. I feel like a lot of people look at me and they think that certain things because of my size or whatever, and you know, everything is appearance based. So if it was a beauty contest, he'd win hands down, you know, but it's not. So he's got to come in there ready. Like he's got to be ready. Like if he's not ready, then like no, he's got to be ready, and he's got to be willing to doggone. I've studied him, you know, like he's got to be willing and ready to doggone ground and pound and do what he needs to do. Because him flying 17,652 times is not going to work. It's not like you're gonna fly and I'm gonna smack you with a chair or whatever. But nah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be magical because so many people just like I don't know when people are gonna learn that you can't judge people based off appearance. Scientifically, a bumblebee is not supposed to fly.
Right.
So
That's very
like
good.
what are we? You know, like people don't think I deserve this. People don't want me to have this match. People, oh, I can do a better match. And okay, that's fine. But this is my time. This is my time to show Myron Reed who Blaq-Tus Jack is. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be no, oh my God, he totally outshined him. No, because he can't do what I can do. Like, people never think about that. They always think, oh, Blaq-Tus Jack can't do what Myron Reed can do. But can Myron Reed do what Blaq-Tus Jack can do? It goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Yeah, and I mean, by the time this airs, this match will be over. But I'm telling you right now, this is one of the matches that I'm looking forward to seeing, because one of the things, as we slide in between wrestling in the ring talk versus us doing an interview, the one thing that comes to mind is, as the fans watching this, they're going to have a lot of footage on Myron Reed versus a Blaq-Tus Jack, who's a relative, name might not be right now on that same level, but now you've got all this footage and stuff to watch on Myron Reed, so you're going to come smack him in the mouth. You reminds me of out of Pittsburgh, who I've had on, Beastman Husk. I've looked at that guy's body and I thought, all right, here's going to come a guy that's just going to be a brawler, ground and pound. And I'm watching that guy fly through the air with the greatest of ease. Impressive. So is Blaq-Tus Jack the one that is training with Griff doing standing moonsaults? Is that something that's still in your repertoire? Do you have that still in the toolbox?
I have a lot in my toolbox. Like I said, I've studied from Johnny Sate to Fit Finley to Bruno Sammartino to even Bill Watts. I've studied Terry Funk promos. Him and Jerry the King Lawler. Oh, my eye.
Yeah.
Gorgeous George, Adrian Adonis. Like, I've studied all those. I've even looked at the oldest. I literally studied the oldest wrestling footage on YouTube. It's 100 and some years old. And it's the first match ever recorded. I can't think of the name of the people involved, but it was very, very old. It's 100 and some years old. I've studied so much for this. Like, it's going to be interesting, the clash of styles. I hope that what comes out of this is that not only more bookings, of course, nobody wants to wrestle a match and be like, oh, I don't want to book that guy, but I want to be able to show people that I do have different styles, because a lot of people, they see me and they want me to work a traditional style, but I can do that, but I also do the spot stuff and all that. But it's just, I want to be able to show people I can change my style, because I can, and I have.
Just listen to you talk, Blaq-Tus. What you saying that wanting to get more bookings is normally people going, yeah, I wanna wrestle more. I want to get noticed more. I want to make that money, which is all probably true for you. But just hearing, diving deeper inside of you, I feel like you're the kind of guy that goes, I want this to lead to more bookings so I can keep perfecting my craft and keep getting better and keep showing people what I want to do and just getting better in the ring, which by doing that, all these other things are going to fall into place. And to me, that makes you that mix of old school, which I love, and new school, like you wise beyond your years as far as the wrestling is what I'm doing. I'm trying to give you a compliment there, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it's very cool. Like I said, very good friends with Franco Varga, and he highly I've seen on social media the praise and stuff that he has for you and other people have for you. So I'm excited to see this match, and I'm excited to watch some of your older stuff, and then I'm excited to watch you develop in the future and make this. So how long has it been since we've had this this pandemic going on, since basically March of last year? How periodically did you get into the ring, or how much time did you have off during this crazy past year?
Honestly, I didn't have that much time off because the job I was working was so physical.
Yeah.
Literally, my job that I was doing was so physical, wrestling was a break. Like, even now, the job that I have now, working for the local government, it's a lot more physical than wrestling, Like, I was still wrestling like not regularly, but like semi-regularly. So it's like I'm not going to get blown up or anything like that, which it would actually be awesome because I've never been blown up before, like in a
Okay.
match. So I mean, that'd be cool. But nah, that's probably not gonna happen. But yeah, I've wrestled, regularly or whatnot.
Okay. So you didn't have this big, like a lot of people are like, hey man, I wasn't able to get into the ring for months and months during this. So you kind of got in periodically. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a veteran, and wrestling really helps me control my PTSD. So I have to wrestle. I have to be involved in wrestling, doing something in wrestling, watching wrestling, something. Like my day, literally, I've quit jobs because of wrestling. So like, it's not just like something I want to do. It's literally quite literally my therapy. So like, I don't, you know,
Right. And I
it,
was
it
going to
really
say
does. Like,
when you mentioned Afghanistan before, so I was assuming then that you are a military veteran, which is
hmm
thank you for your service, and I'm so uh, I have such a my father being a veteran and my love for pro wrestling. I mean, I always feel like okay, these guys that are vets and the pro wrestlers, I have a lot of respect and love for. You like watching old school wrestling. I grew up here in the Midwest. My favorite wrestling promotion is the American Wrestling Association, the AWA. So, with your love of wrestling, have you gotten to dive into some AWA from the 80s at all?
I'll be honest, that's the one thing that I'm bad at. I'm bad at I don't so I don't watch specific promotions. I watch people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
I think it was Ernie I like I can name some of the people that I've watched, but like I can't name I remember Hulk Hogan when he was blue shorts Hogan, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And I you just that's one thing I can't remember promotions like that. I really can't. But
All
I
right.
can
Let me
definitely
look.
remember people.
I'm gonna help you out here on some of your film study. I'm gonna suggest a couple matches for you just to watch psychology wise. Now, if you this is tough to find on YouTube, but if you own any DVDs that are wrestling, or if you can borrow one, or anybody out here watching both of us talk, get the Mr. Perfect DVD. And on the second disc, the first match is my one of my all-time favorites. It's a 60-minute time limit draw with Kurt Hennig and Nick Bockwinkel in the AWA, and I believe this aired close to New Year's Eve in 1986. It's a clinic. It's one of those matches. Even when I was a kid, I'm like, oh, okay, my short attention span was drawn to this match. Two of the greatest guys, in my opinion, to be in the ring, Nick Bockwinkel and Kurt Hennig. The next one I'm going to give you is on YouTube, and it's not anything where I'm like, you got to study this match, but it's a time warp. A lot of people are like, hey, I'd like to see John Cena versus Bruno Sammartino, or I'd like to see somebody in this promotion, this, and a lot of times it's gone. It's never happened. But speaking of my love for the AWA, you can go right now onto YouTube. Uh, the British Bulldogs and the Rock and Roll Express actually met in Kansas City, Missouri, under the AWA, and that's on there. And that's kind of a thing that, and that I think it's 1988, so they're not far off their primes, and it's just kind of a cool matchup. I'm off my soapbox of AWA for now, but just giving you a couple fun ones to watch, because that Bulldog one in Rock and Roll Express, I remember when they aired it, and I was blown away as a kid, going, "Wait a minute, how did I not hear about this when it happened?" Uh, but it's kind of a cool one. And I had Georgia Smith on a few weeks back, and I mentioned that, and she said yes, that Harry had mentioned and showed it to her, that her dad, and she said she actually got to talk to Ricky and Robert about that match later on. So it's cool. It's not as hidden a gem as I used to think it was, but it's out there.
um, let's see, who was it? I remember it's weird because I didn't realize that I had actually seen Smoky Mountain Wrestling until I got older.
Yeah.
Because I remember that was the only time where I think it was Smoky Mountain who always used to use the spotlight to find the Undertaker.
Okay.
Like when they would turn off the lights, all the lights off, and they would like shine like a spotlight to like they would like scan it over the crowd. And I was like, oh, where's he at? Where's he at? And then they finally find him, and like that was the pop for me. Like I'm like, oh, there he goes.
That's awesome.
But it's like I was telling people, I said, y'all call people marks for liking wrestling. I say, but what do you call a basketball player who studies tape? What do you call a football player who studies tape? I say, if you come in here and you don't watch your stuff back, and I don't, trust me, people think I like the sound of my own voice, but no, I just like to make sure that I'm making sense. And people think certain things about me, but if you're not studying your own craft, then what are you doing? It's like calling the doctor a mark for studying a surgery. What? So you're calling like literally not to get off subject, this is well, it slightly relates. When I was in high school, we did a field trip to Timco, and that was one of the airplane companies that built one of the airplanes that hit the Twin Towers. Well, before they do anything, they have to research the part and research the problem and research. Like they have computers right there by the plane, so they had small little rooms they would go into and research before they did anything. So for people calling somebody a mark or a smart for knowing wrestling, if you're a wrestler and a fan knows more about wrestling than you, that's your damn fault. Study your craft. Like I'm not the most knowledgeable, but I know quite a bit. Nobody's gonna talk me under the table about wrestling, like they're gonna be like, oh, da, 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 and it's a 15-minute conversation of them talking to me, and I'm just looking like, how do you know all this? Especially not with the amount that I study, like.
No, I got that too from some people. Like I drove a little over an hour a couple years ago because Baron von Raschke, 79-year-old Baron, was at a wrestling show, and I'm like, you damn right, I'm going to go there and I'm going to get my picture taken with the Baron, because I used to have a Baron autograph when I was a kid, and it's like my comic books and everything that got thrown out with everything, and I'm like, man, if I could meet a legend. Oh, you're a mark. Oh, you're damn right. If that's what you're going to call me, then that's what I am, in your opinion. And everybody who's in the business, especially at our level, I'm like, you were a mark at some point. Yeah, we all are. That's how we got into it, and that's what I want.
Everybody is a mark in certain ways. Because here's the thing, if you like critiquing wrestling, if you like being around wrestling, if you like being at wrestling events, if you like anything, like it's like you can be considered a mark. But here's the thing, I don't even take it as a derogatory comment, because there are some guys that I see do stuff and I mark out for it because I'm like, oh, that's amazing. It ain't me trying to kiss their ass, it's me being like, look, that was amazing. I think that was really awesome. Like people just use that word so much and it's like overused. It's like people want to use wrestling terminology to try to be down. And it's like, unless you done took a bump, did wrestling training, you don't actually know what most of these words mean. Like you're just saying it.
Yes. I just had this conversation with Franco the other day. Everybody giving me, hey, brother, or hey, I went down to the grocery store and did this gimmick. Shut the F up. You've not taken a bump. You've not, and the internet has made everybody come there, and it's like, you know what? A lot of us don't actually talk like that. Not every other word is this. They at least when I've been around, we don't talk like that, and I can tell when somebody's using the words gimmick and mark and this and that, and I'm like, and brother and oos, and I'm like, you know what? You learn that all from watching a YouTube video.
It's like, I like wrestling, but the thing that gets them, the same thing I didn't like about the military is the same thing I don't like about wrestling. If somebody is married to a wrestler and that wrestler is the main event, they feel like that they have the same bearing as that wrestler. Like,
same
no
clout, yeah.
You're the wife. Go sit down and hush somewhere. Like I've been in that situation. It's like, okay, you do concessions. Sit over there, sit down. You do t-shirts. Sit over there, sit down. You do this. You don't wrestle. So why are you talking to me about wrestling? It's like everybody has an opinion, but until you get in there and you're trained, you can't like, okay, from a wrestler's perspective, from a fan's perspective, what do you think of my match? And then they start using wrestling terminology. I stopped listening. Because here's the thing. You could have said, okay, well, I didn't like when you did this and that. Okay, I can see that, but why didn't you like it? You know what I'm saying? Like, people need to know their place. Trainees need to know their place. And here's the thing. Veterans, they know their place because they know that certain people ain't gonna listen. So they say, oh, that's okay. Like my Josh Gary will tell you, he's the trainer at AML now, and he'll tell you, he'll be like, as long as I'm giving you a critique, you're good. But okay. Because especially if he done told you 4 times, you're not gonna get it. You're clearly not gonna get it. You're doing stuff just to doggone do it. You don't care if it registered, you don't care if it makes sense. So, okay. It was good. Once they give you that, oh, keep up what you're doing, brother. Oh, what? And they didn't even watch your match.
100%. Oh man, if this wasn't the age of the internet and I could name names, we would go on forever because we've all been in that situation.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The wife, the girlfriend in the locker room.
Oh my God. Bruh. Look, see, that's why I was just talking to somebody about this. I said, it don't need to be, nobody extra should be allowed back there. I said, because as soon as some dumb stuff happen, then they're gonna be wanting to blame you or me. And I'm gonna be like, look, I didn't even know this person wasn't allowed back here. How'd they get back here? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, look, it's gonna be a security guard at the locker room. So anybody who's not supposed to be in there can't be in there. If they don't have this color bracelet, they can't come back here. Because as soon as some weird guy come back there and grab a wrestler's ass, oh my God, he was related to the booker and the promoter. And I'm be sitting there like, I don't know this asshole. Who is, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know this guy. And then that's gotta be the balance. And I told everybody, I was like, it's gotta be that balance. Because you gotta respect that curtain. Because once you step past that curtain, you're out of your boundaries. You have no right to be back there if you're not.
That's our area. That's the one safe haven that we've got. And sometimes it is just the curtain giving us a little space. I was in a show probably 3-4 years ago. One of the wrestlers' girlfriend is subbing in as the ring announcer. She brought in bigger than a suitcase I would have on a European tour of makeup and had it laid out and took up half the freaking locker room. And she's back there and she's ringing terrible ring announcing and everything, and plus taking up half the room. And the guys are like, we're like, what? Hey, we're packed in tight as sardines. If I go to a show that you're on, you and I are good friends. I'm not booked. I'm there as a show. Does my ass, and I'm a vet, I don't have the audacity to think I could step across because I'm in the business, brother. No, I'm not on that show. That's yours. I'm there in a completely different capacity. That's how old school I am. And I've even now with this have covered events and been in the locker room, and I still talk to the promoter and everything. Is it okay? I'm not, yeah, come on back in the locker room. Somebody will say, and I'll be like, no, I need to make sure everybody is okay with it. That's how old school I am. Even though I know I'm not going to be up to any shenanigans, I'm going to sit and respect everybody, but I still ask for permission. But I'm blown away by the amount of people that just think, hey, I'm a friend of this guy, I'm coming back. Get the frick out of here. You can't do that at like a theater production or so. I'm going to go backstage because I just
see, that's what I'm saying. Like WrestleCade, the last WrestleCade we had, 2019, the booker Brian Hawks literally had to kick people out the locker room. He said, if I don't know you, get out. Like, who invited you? Like Like literally, this is why I give respect to people like Sue Young, who, yes, she could have came back in the locker room anytime she wanted to, but she never has.
Right.
The only time I saw her pass the curtain was when Rich Swann got sick after a match, and he was like stomach started bothering him, and he got sick. But she has never. She'll sit right there and enjoy the matches just like everybody else, and like that's how people should be. Like if I'm not on a show, literally, I paid to go to a show last weekend.
Right.
To support. Matter of fact, I paid to go to American Lucha to support Malachi versus Trey Miguel.
Awesome.
You know, I've paid to go to shows. I don't. If I'm not booked on a show, I'm paying to go to that show. I'll spend my last $10 to doggone. Literally, that's what I spent my last $10 on to go to that show last weekend before payday. So I'm not ashamed of it.
No, I'm the same way. I've done. I've been to shows that have been in such small venues up here in northern Wisconsin where there's literally 2 rows of seats. So a seat directly behind the front ringside is $15. The second row is 10. I'll pay the 15. My view's probably going to be just the same, but I'm supporting the business and I'm supporting the boys. I'm giving you that extra and I'll pay. And that's the thing. Wow. I can't imagine what goes through the mind of people that think, like we said, I could step back into the locker room at your show. No. If I have to be there by necessity, I still make sure if I'm invited back, I have permission. And I'm talking, and the reason I'm backstage at these one shows is it was literally unavoidable to do the job I had to do for Wrestling Travel. I had to be kind of backstage with, because I brought in talent. But I'm still going, hey, I'm not going to bother anybody. During this time when I can't go anywhere else, am I in here? And then throughout the show, I've had people go, oh, do you know what's happening? What's going on with this? No, dude, I got the heck out of the locker room as soon as like the meet and greet started. I literally have my stuff in there. I watched the show and then I'm going to come back afterwards and grab it. But even those few times I'm in there, I'm making sure that it is okay with the powers that be. Man, you and I have the same brain on a lot of these things, and I love it. So let me we'll kind of wrap this up because I want to make sure I'm very respectful of your time, and thank you so much because I do want to have you on again once wrestling kind of starts keep going, and then we've kind of covered this early part of your career and see what's going on. So just a couple more questions for you. We are from the United Kingdom, based out of the United Kingdom. I'm the North American representative. So I've been, that's what my lack of British accent. But with you being a vet, but kind of being in just since 2016, so kind of celebrating 5 years in the business, have you gotten to wrestle outside of the U.S. at all yet?
This is where the pandemic screwed me up. I was actually talking to a promotion in the UK and talking to a promotion in Brazil and working on Canada, and it all fell through because of the pandemic. I contacted the people in Brazil; they're still shut down. So I would love to work outside the US because, like, I feel like what I do, a lot of people can't do and won't do. I'll go anywhere where they're like talking good sense, where there's good wrestling and where they got fans that'll boo the heel and cheer the baby face, and there's no tweeners. That's a term that I absolutely hate. First of all, unless you're producing 10 to 12 hours of wrestling TV, you can't be a tweener. It's not a thing. Sorry. At least in my opinion, it's the stupidest term ever. You're a tweener. What's that? Either you're a good guy or you're the bad guy. you don't have a sitcom, so you don't get to decide who's between. like that's the stupidest thing ever. It's a movie. You can't be a tweener. Either you're the good guy or you're the bad guy. Or you're associated with the good guy, or you're associated with the bad guy. You're not a tweener. Like, no, stop. I heard somebody say that and I got sick to my stomach. I'm like, dude, you run shows once a month with 2 fans. You can't say it.
Oh,
I'm
man.
sorry. I'm sorry. Like, people make up words when they can't doggone just like when they can't think of something like, oh, he's a tweener. No. He's just bad at being a heel. That's what it is. If I'm a heel, I don't want people cheering me.
100%. That's tough. I mean, when I wrestled heel, it was a lot more fun. But I tell you what, you're trying to be a face and trying to get people to like you. Back in the day when I started, it was like, now everybody wanted to. In fact, one of the last times I was even at a show, an event, it was November of last year. And I was like, dude, that for the first time in 20 some years, I actually felt like, now that was real heat. Like, I generated heat. Like, there was no, like, people were actually really pissed off at me. And I was like, that was awesome. That was so great. In fact, I'll tell you about terminology. I grew up, it was not heel and babyface. It was fan favorite and rule breaker. And I'm like, we just need to, I love that. But, not everybody, because it was very simple. But then we got the heel and face and how it is. So, yeah, I'd love to see you wrestle in the UK. I'd love to see you wrestle all over the world, because there's such a different in that boisterous fan base and everything. And in fact, that's why we're going to stay friends and stuff. So hopefully everything opens up. Your buddies over here at Wrestling Travel can go, hey, you want to get a hold of see this interview and get Blaq-Tus Jack in there. We got your hookup. So coming from this is going to be like asking you who's your favorite child. So you're already off the hook on this one a little bit. Just what are some of the best? Can you think of like some of the best advice that you've gotten from a veteran or from somebody? The best piece of advice, or if you wanted to give out best piece of advice,
it would definitely be from Brian Hawks. And if I had listened to him, I'd be a lot further sooner. He literally told me, he said, be yourself. People need to know your story. And the first time I cut a promo where I felt like I cut a really great promo, I cried after, because it was so like personal and so like, I felt like I threw myself out there. I was like, watch this. And like, I just described things and used metaphors to describe stuff that happened in my life. And like, why I was so like messed up in the head. And it's like, I cut that promo and I just felt like a weight was lifted. And he was like, I've been trying to get you to do that for 3 years. And I said, I always took the advice that keep your wife away from wrestling. So I always kept like my family and my personal life away from wrestling. But he learned more of my story, and we became like, I would say he's one of my friends in wrestling, and I love the guy because he always gave me great advice. He's always been patient with me. And, even when he was impatient back in the day, he's gotten a lot more patient like nowadays, but he's given me the greatest advice ever. He was like, be yourself. Like, every conversation we have is so entertaining because he know I'm just so weird. Like, I'll be like, hey, Ron, I got a question. Oh, Lord. What is it, Blaq-Tus? So it's like, that's our dynamic, that's, and Tracy told me that also, but
Tracy Smothers?
No, Tracy Myers. Sorry. Tracy
okay,
Myers.
I just want to make sure. Yep.
The owner of AML Wrestling in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay.
And he's always given me great advice. And he's given me advice from the perspective that I have to level up. Because my mind, I was always think so small-minded. But being around him, you can't think small-minded. Otherwise, you will literally be like, how am I supposed to do that? You'll be lost the whole time. So I really had to like up my level of thinking to even have a conversation with him, because he's such a he doesn't go easy on anything that he wants to do. He goes hard 100% on everything that he wants to do, and that's him, like, and he's always open for any crazy ideas that I have. He'll never say no. He'll adjust them to where they, make sense business wise. And I love that guy for that. He's let me send him ideas and he'll be like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? Just being like a vent for me or a filter for constructive ideas. Um, there's a camp going on in AML in June 25th through the 27th, and then Rudy Boy Gonzalez is the head trainer that day, and C.W. Anderson and Pain Train Preston Quinn, Josh Gary, Brian Cozone, who trained Griff Garrison. It's over 100 years of experience, and you got to be there to see it. It's amazing. It's a 2-ring setup. It's going to be like awe-inspiring, and I just want people to like get better, because there's no reason if you suck at wrestling, there's no reason to suck at it. It's not like pay the $20 or whatever and actually get trained, because people have died from this. People that have trained for years have died from this, because look at who was it? How you think Killer Kowalski got his name? How you think the Heart Punch got famous? Like, people don't realize that this is actually, oh, it's fake. Okay, so fine. They said the movies are fake too, right? But what happened to Bruce Lee's son in that one movie? Like people don't realize, like, this is like a dude just died 2 years ago, broke his neck in the ring because he wasn't trained. He was in there messing around. So I mean, like, people just throw stuff out there, and I'm just like, okay, because I'm not gonna argue with him. I ain't gonna be like David Schultz and smack everybody to say, oh, wrestling is fake. Like, there's no point in that, because I'll be smacking a lot of people.
And I've almost come, just as you're saying that, come across this in my head. It is my, because one of the first things I was taught, once I have you off of your base, your livelihood, your family, that is all on my shoulders. I am responsible. So it is your responsibility in professional wrestling to be as trained and as prepared for my fellow. And we talked about kayfabe, but if I'm in the ring with you, you are my brother, and it is my responsibility to protect you and not hurt you. That is the art of what we are doing. It's a perceived shoot by the fans, which I want to see, now that we're in the internet and everybody's a smart fan, but it is my responsibility to deliver as close to a shoot looking fight as we can by keeping my brother safe, and me knowing that you are keeping me safe. And that is the art form and the respect that we have. And you're right, there is no excuse to not be trained and not be at the best when you're in the ring with my brothers, my sisters, everything. It is the responsibility. I was going to draw a similarity into the masking up and masking down in the pandemic, but I don't want to get political or controversial. But you can draw from what people know. They can draw their own conclusions of if there is a similarity there in that or not. But it is definitely your livelihood is my responsibility once I have you off your base. Or just even if I don't have you off of your base, I'm in there. Your safety is my responsibility. My safety is your responsibility. Our safety is our collective responsibility. That is, if you need me to come give this speech at the, I feel like I jumped on a soapbox there. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to laugh it off there. But yeah, I didn't mean to get all serious on you. But yeah, that's awesome. And you've got a great mind. I can tell that from knowing you for the last 20 minutes or whatever, that the similarities in the thought process your cerebral is coming to it, just that your thought process about and your respect for the businesses. So, I mean, I can't thank you enough. My final question for you, sir, and just my final question on this interview, because I got a feeling that in a few months I got to ask you back on and see where everything is at once everything kind of clears up. But the most important question I can ask you, everybody watching this is going to want to know, where can I follow Blaq-Tus Jack? Does he have social media I can follow as a fan? Does he have merch? How can I get my Blaq-Tus Jack merch? Everything Blaq-Tus Jack. If you got anything going on, please promote it here and let us know how we can follow you.
I'm on Facebook, Blaq-Tus Jack, BLAQ, like Bill DeMott said when he gave me the name in 2017, BLAQTUS Jack. It's on Twitter at Blaq-Tus Jack. Instagram, they're connected to my Facebook, so it's Blaq-Tus Jack also. Let's see. That's it. My merch, I do my own merch as far as like t-shirts. So I like so just hit me up directly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't make my t-shirts, but hit me up directly and I'll send it to you. I have hats and t-shirts and yeah, I pride myself on being different. So also there's one shirt that I have that I really love and people take it as being like anti whatever. It's having fun, you know. It's an upside down cross, but it's not like antichrist. So some people take it like that and it's like it's just having fun. It's not like I'm saying go, you know, but yeah.
Well, everybody's offended by something. So,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the thing, you know, we're guys out there trying to make a living and trying to make a few extra dollars selling merch. So that's awesome. And also, it'll be too late, but hopefully you can order the replay on Title Match Network. I believe it's going to be on. But first time ever taking place in North Carolina, Sunday, February 28th. Of course, that is probably going to be a week ago if you're watching this now, but find out all the great first time matchups. But the one I'm really looking forward to is yourself, Blaq-Tus Jack versus Myron Reed. It should be hopefully an instant classic, and we'll get to see what if we hadn't got a chance to see Blaq-Tus Jack, this is our opportunity. So please, you know, if Blaq-Tus Jack is coming, hear him advertised close to your city, your neighborhood in the future, get a ticket and see what he's all about. So Mr. Blaq-Tus Jack, I cannot thank you enough, sir, for joining me on the lockdown sessions, and best of luck and look forward to talking to you again down the line.
Thank you, sir.